Put it on 'em, make 'em wanna marry me. Put it on 'em, make 'em wanna marry me. Hey, that's what Rashida said, right? We putting it on them and we gonna make them marry us, all right? Listen to me, y'all. I'm going to share with you guys 5 ways you can be so irresistible to your man that he is going to want to marry you, okay? And if you're married already, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways you can continue to be irresistible to your man so that he'll never leave. And I know. You cannot keep a man that does not want to be kept. I know. But these 5 things that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today are things that you should already have about yourself anyways. And y'all, I've been married for 20 years, okay? High school bays, okay? So I know a little something. All right, I'm about to share with you guys right now. Okay. All right, so we're jumping right into it. The first thing that you're going to do so that you can be more irresistible to your man or your already husband is you're going to not be a pushover, okay? Because being a pushover is like the ultimate, that's like you asking for it. Like you're asking to be disrespected, okay? And a high value woman, we are not pushovers, okay? Like we know our worth. We know what we bring to the relationship. We know we have standards, like, excuse me, you know what I mean? And you might be asking me like, well, how do I prevent myself from being a pushover? Like, you know, what if I'm just a genuinely nice person? Well, what you're gonna have to do is set boundaries, okay? Boundaries should be applied throughout your whole life. You should be setting boundaries in your workplace. You should be setting boundaries with your kids. You should be setting boundaries with your parents, like if you're already an adult, like because people will take advantage of people that don't set boundaries. Basically, you are a pushover, right? So that's exactly what you need to do. And I'm going to give you guys an example of a couple where I feel like if she had set boundaries early on in the relationship, she wouldn't have even had gotten married and then end up getting divorced. So there is a couple, they were on a show. I think the show is called Love is Blind. It's on Netflix. And the woman's name is Ayanna Steele, and I believe the guy's name is Jared Jones, I believe it was. Anyways, they met on the show, they fell in love, and before they got married, they did like a pretend marriage. So I think they got to live with each other for like a pretend marriage. And I think that they had to live together for like a week to see what each other was like, right? And during this week, you guys, just a week or so, this guy was coming in 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, disrespecting her. She didn't like it because he was more of an extrovert. She was more introverted. And she told him she didn't like this and he kept doing it, okay? And what she also did was she made excuses for him. She started saying things like, oh, you know, Jared's just like that. Oh, you know, he grew up in a strict household. His father was a pastor, so he didn't get to like hang out with friends, and so that's why he's like this now. He's the life of the party. But hello, he's like 30 years old. I get having strict parents. I had strict parents, but you had from 18 and you're now 30 and you still want to come home 4 o'clock in the morning. You still want to come home 5 o'clock in the morning. Yet still you went on a show to look for a wife, right? To settle down. But here's this woman who's encouraging your behavior, you know, and I'm not sure she knew that's what she was doing. Maybe she's just genuinely a nice person and she didn't want to be like a mommy figure to him. But right away, she didn't set those boundaries up and she wasn't clear on that, because what ended up happening is she married him anyway, although she had the signs, right? Sis knew what she was getting into. But again, we think like we're magicians and that we can somehow change a man. You can't change anybody, okay? A person is going to be who they're going to be. You're either going to love them for who they are or you're going to leave them where they're at, okay? She decided to love him as he was and she thought she could deal with this and got married and recently just announced that they're getting a divorce, and the world was so shocked, including me. But then when I thought about it, I was like, the same things that she said she got she got divorced for. She hated the fact that he was coming in late at night, 7 o'clock in the morning, actually, you know, and just not being responsible and drinking and partying, like literally having a college boy life. That's like the main reason she said why she divorced him, because he's immature. But my thing is, Had she set those boundaries from the jump, like, dude, like, I know this is what you're about, but I'm not about that. I'm looking for a husband. I'm looking for a responsible king. Like, you know, I'm not looking for a child. I get, like, you know, you want to have fun and live your life, and I'm not going to be your mom. If you want to do that, but that's not what I'm about. Had she set those clear boundaries to him from the beginning in the show, when he showed those signs and she got that week to live with him, she wouldn't have gotten married, because he would have showed that he can't change, right? And he's not willing to change for her, and she wouldn't have gotten married. Now she has a divorce underneath her belt. For what? When you already had the signs. Now I'm trying to tell you guys, had she set those clear boundaries, like, no, this is like unacceptable, it wouldn't have went that far. You understand? And then she now became a pushover because she didn't set those initial boundaries. I also wanted to add that when you set boundaries, you show a man that you believe in yourself, that you think that you're a high value woman, that you have respect for yourself. You're saying, listen, no, I'm not tolerating that. And it's like, wow, it's sexy. It's this confidence, you know, that they see, and they're just like, rawr, like, I like that, you know, because at the end of the day, nobody likes a pushover, you know? So that's why it's so important for us to set those boundaries, you know, and be clear with those boundaries, and, you know, show who's boss. Like, you know, they like that. Men like that. Okay, so the second thing that you're gonna do in order to be more irresistible to your man is you're going to have to be vulnerable. Yes, you guys, you're going to have to listen to him. He should feel like, you know, when he enters into your space, it's like a judgment-free space. He feels comfortable. He feels calm with you. He feels a sense of nurturing with you. Like, he can tell you anything. He could just come home and be like, man, I had such a hard day. You know, my boss had me feeling a little bit insecure when he told me to do this project and I wasn't sure how to do it. Like, literally, you're his homie. You're his friend. Like, there's no judgment. You're not going to be like, oh, you need to man up. You too sensitive. It's like, why are you so hard? You know, they crave that. Just like we crave that. Like, we want to come home and be like, oh my God, like, my day was so hard. I mean, at least I know I do that. Sometimes I just want to be a baby about something, you know, and I just need you to just be there, listen to me, let me cry if I need to, and that's it. But everybody deserves that one person. And let me tell you something. If a guy can be vulnerable with you, it's like you already unlocked like the magic everything, okay? Because a lot of women aren't vulnerable with their men, or they don't allow their men to be vulnerable with them. You are now, when a guy finds that in you, he ain't leaving. He's not going nowhere. I mean, granted, a guy is going to leave. You know, you can't keep a man that doesn't want to be kept. Fine. I just have to put that out there. But back to what I was saying. Because it's so hard to find a woman that a man can confide in and feel safe in, he will think twice about leaving you because he loves that. He craves that about you. You know, that's one of the qualities that my husband loves with me, is that he can come to me and talk to me about anything. And I'm going to tell him my opinion, but I'm going to listen, and I'm not going to judge him, and I'm going to be sweet, and I'm going to apply the same grace that I would want him to give me. And because of that, it's like, man, I got a wife, a homie, you know, that's like, we friends, like my therapist, everything all in one. So let that man be vulnerable with you, okay? And you will be irresistible forever. Third thing that you're going to do so you can be more irresistible is you're going to not be thirsty, okay? You ain't drinking a lot of water right now. You're not thirsty. You're not thirsty. And what I mean by that is you're not going to give out desperate energy, okay? Desperate vibes. Like, you're not going to make because this man has a lot of money, or he has a really nice car, fast car, whatever it is, jewelry, a big house. You're not going to let that phase you. You're not going to act intimidated by that, because what most men with money, they know that a lot of females only get with them because of what they can provide for that female. So can you imagine how nice it is when a man finds a woman that doesn't faze them? Like, money is not what moves them. Money is nice and everything like that, but if that's not your main purpose, like, I'm only going to be with him because of this is what he has, and for example, you guys get into an argument or something like that, I don't know, and he all of a sudden comes to you and he's like with a how many roses, and he's like, here's a ticket for us to go to Dubai, and here's a Louis Vuitton bag, and here's this, and he starts buying you the world. Now you're like, oh my God, and you take him back and you hug him and you kiss him or whatever. Right away, he's like, see, this is what I had to do to get you back on my side. I didn't have to change my behavior. I didn't have to, go and get help, like go to a therapist, seek counsel, guidance. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. All I had to do was get you some plane tickets, get you a bag, and all is well. That's because you're giving out thirsty vibes, right? You can never be irresistible to a man like that. You know why? Because there's tons of women like you. If that's who you are, he can find a ton of women that's going to want his money, want what he has to offer, but he's going to find it very hard, and it's going to be rare to find a woman who's not moved by that. So I'm going to give you an example. There's this movie called Coming to America, and there was two sisters in that movie, and one of the sisters was thirsty. Okay, she was very desperate. She wanted a rich guy. Okay, by any means necessary, she wanted a rich guy. Her sister, on the other hand, had a rich guy and wasn't fazed by that, and she was the one that ended up in the end with an actual rich guy. She was with like the prince or whatever. She ended up getting married to Eddie Murphy, and she ended up getting everything she ever wanted, but that he wasn't attracted to her, or she wasn't attracted to him because he had the money. She didn't even know he had money. She thought he was this poor guy, and that made him fall in love with her more, because he was just like, wow, you had a rich boyfriend before me, and that didn't work out. And then you met me, who was pretending like I didn't have much and was working in McDonald's, but yet still you fell in love with me. But the gag was he had money all along. So it was just like, and I'm sure she was happy when she found that out as well, but that wasn't her main goal. That wasn't her main focus. Meanwhile, the sister, on the other hand, her main goal was, ooh, I'm gonna need me a rich guy, da 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 da. And she ended up in the end with nobody. She actually was so desperate that she took up her sister's ex-boyfriend because he had money too, and that's what she literally tried to do, and in the end she was unhappy. And I'm telling you, that desperate energy and that thirsty energy is and guys pick up on it immediately. All right, so be humble, y'all, and do your own thing, grind on your own, so that you don't have to give out this thirsty energy. All right, because we're queens, we're high value women over here. All right. Period. Okay, so the fourth thing that you're going to do in order to be more irresistible to a man is have your own life. Okay, you are going to have your own life. And what I mean by that is, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you don't work, and your husband or your man provides for you, still have a hobby, still do your own thing. Maybe you can take some of that money and start your own business, or if you don't want to do that at all, like, do have days where you go and you have like a self-care day, right? That's having your own life. You're not just by the phone depending on him to call you and to make you feel good about yourself. Like, you're doing your own thing. Like, you're up at 6:00 in the morning, you're at the gym, you're working out, you're looking cute, you're making your protein smoothies, okay? You're cooking up your nice salad and your protein chicken or whatever. You're doing all the things. You have a nail appointment at 2:00. You have a hair appointment. You have a pedi appointment, okay? You have a massage at 6. That's what I mean, having a life. I don't necessarily mean that you have to go out and get a job if you don't want to. That's fine too, or starting your own business. But I don't want you to think just on that scale. Like, you can just be taking care of yourself, getting to know yourself. So he calls you sometimes, you're just like, yeah, what's up? I'm busy. What you doing? Da, da, da. And the guy is like, wow, she's busy. She's not just depending on me to be her whole day, her whole life. Her world doesn't revolve around me. Trust me, guys love that stuff, okay? They like to know that you are out there, that you're happy, that you're doing your own thing. You giving boss vibes. You know what I'm saying? You smell good. You shopping. You just that whole aura, you guys, that when you're doing your own thing that you have is like so sexy and attractive to a man. Like, he loves that. Even if he calls you and he's like, what you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm on my walk, and I'm listening to some podcasts or whatever. He's just like, oh, okay. Like, you're not at home, binge watching the Kardashians, upset that I'm not home with you, cuddling with you. Like, you're doing your own thing. Wow, that's great. They love that. Trust me on that. I've been married for 20 years. Felt like I needed to say that. And trust me on that one. Have your own life. Do your own thing. Okay? All right. So the fifth thing that you're going to do in order to be a little bit more irresistible to your man is you're going to have conversation. You have to have more conversations with your man. Trust me on this one. They love this one. As much as, like, people would like to say that men don't really like to communicate. Trust me, if they find a woman that they can talk to forever with, like, that's their friend, their homie, all of that stuff, they will eat that stuff up because that's rare, okay? So talk, like, find things to talk about anything. Like, for me, my husband is not a big social media. Like, he goes on social media, but he's not like into like the little gossip stuff like I am or whatever. Like, he won't really come across it too much. So I'm the one that I will call him and be like, oh my goodness, what happened to this person? And he's like, what? And he's like talking with me too, he's listening to me. Like, they love that. It doesn't have to be conversation on some deep stuff. I'm not telling you to sit there and start thinking, but like, talk to them like how you would talk to your girlfriend, like, this is what happened. This is what I'm about to cook today. This is what I ate today. Oh, I was walking and, this dog did this or whatever. Just have conversation, have something to say. I once had a friend, right? And I remember I got off the phone with my husband at the time. Well, he wasn't my husband at the time. Wait, was he? I don't remember. And she was talking to her boyfriend at the time. And when I got off the phone with my guy, she says to me, wow, you guys were on the phone for so long. What were you talking about? And I was like, what do you mean? And she had a kid at the time too. She goes, well, for me and my boyfriend, all we talk about is the baby. Like, we don't really talk about anything when we're on the phone, but you having a whole conversation. I was just like, wow. And I never thought that was anything until she brought my attention to it. I'm like, don't we all talk to our guys on the phone? Like, what? But she was so amazed by it. And trust me, guys like that. And you're going to be even more irresistible to them because, again, they're not going to go out and find that because not a lot of girls have things to say. Like, I hear that all the time. Like, these women are boring. They don't have anything to talk about. They're just lackluster. They're just blah. Or it's just a pretty face with no personality. They love that. Especially quiet guys. Quiet guys love when you're like, Ray, Ray. They love the excitement because they get to like live through you because you're not that. They're not that, So it's kind of like you balance each other out. So trust me on that because it's rare. They're going to want to be with you. They're not going to want to leave. They're going to want to marry you. Okay. Cause they're going to be like, what? I got a best friend. I know that, when the kids move out, we're going to be on the porch and we're just going to be having conversations. We're going to be talking forever. The sun is going to come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember those old school conversations where you'll be on the phone and you got your foot up on the wall and you're like twirling the phone cord. And if you don't know what a phone cord is, then you're too young. Okay. But you're like twirling it and you don't want to get off the phone. Like, that's the type of conversations you should be having with your guy. Because again, just like being vulnerable with them, where they're not, or they being able to be vulnerable with you, where they're not going to get that from any and anybody. They're not going to get a lot of women that is going to want to have conversations with them and talk to them and get to know them on that deep stuff. You know what I mean? That deep, deep stuff. So trust me on this one. have conversations with your guy, you're going to be irresistible, period. All right, so I'm throwing in a bonus one because you guys should already know this one, but I'm going to throw this one in. You have to be confident. In order to be irresistible to your guy, be confident. Nobody wants to be around anybody that's not confident or insecure, okay? Because confidence shows like, yes, like that's my woman right there. And I mean, granted, we all have our days, okay? We all have our days. I'm sure they have their days, all right? But for the most part, you speak highly of yourself. You're proud of yourself. You know, you're smart, you're educated, you know, you just have this aura about yourself, you know, and they love that. You can light up a room. Like, that's sexy to them. Like, wow, she can hold her own. She can have a conversation with anybody. She's not intimidated. She knows her worth. She knows all that stuff. She knows that another woman's shine doesn't dim hers. And it's just like, wow. Because trust me, guys know that women, we can tend to be a little bit catty with each other, right? And so for him to know that his woman is not about that, she just wants to build the other woman up because she knows once the other woman is up, she's up, and they both winning together, period. It's like, wow, like, where'd you come from, woman? All my life I've wanted you. Let me marry you. Let me put this ring on your finger right now. Oh my God, you guys, but trust me on this one, okay? Practice having self-confidence. You know, it's something it can be hard. So, you know, there's books, all that stuff. And just get into the mirror, go into the mirror and be like, listen, every day I am a bad, you know what? Okay, I look good, I'm pretty, and talk highly of yourself. All the things that you love about yourself, write it down on paper. And trust me, the more you start believing that, the world will believe that, your spouse will believe that, and that will be such a turn on to him, and you will be more irresistible, okay? All right, you guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment down below. See you guys. Mwah. Bye.